I, like you, am super keen to get into Unreal and to get into C++. One more step, though, on Windows to get VS Code set up properly. Let's just go through this together one step at a time. If you're on Mac or Linux, either skip this video altogether or watch it really fast in fast forward because none of it will be relevant to you. So what we need to do on Windows is to change some settings.json. Now, the way you get to that is File, Preferences, and Settings. And in here, we're going to search for shell. And it doesn't really matter about all this complicated stuff. The thing that we want to find is one of the links to edit in settings.json. The key is that we end up with this settings.json file open in a tab that we can see. Now, the reason we're having to do this is that on Windows, when we try and open a command prompt or a terminal inside Visual Studio Code, it's not going to work, just like it didn't. Remember when we typed CMD earlier on and we tried running a standard command prompt and then we went CL to compile? It was like, oh, I can't do that. We had to go and find our developer command prompt and then type CL. Then the environment or the context was right, and then the compiler was ready to go. So we're doing exactly the same thing inside Visual Studio Code because it's much more convenient to be able to run our code quickly from inside Visual Studio Code. So these settings are Windows only, and they're designed to allow you to quickly open a developer command prompt inside Visual Studio Code. Then that gets us genuinely all on the same page. All right, so with your settings.json open, you need to add in something that I've given you against this video. So I'm just going to go get that text now. All right, this is what I'm pasting in. Let's just briefly talk you through why we're doing this. So we're saying that when we use the integrated shell or command prompt inside Visual Studio Code, we want to use CMD, which is the command prompt we showed you. But when we run our developer command prompt, which is the VS Dev command thing, something else happens. And what else happens is it runs a batch file that sets it up. It sets up the environment, as I said. So this second line says that. It says run the command prompt, but please also run this batch file. That's what all that's saying. It's a small possibility that this is a different word for you, like enterprise. The way to be sure that this is the right batch file to run for you is to go to your search menu in Windows, search for developer command prompt, right-click it and say Open File Location, or simply click Open File Location here. And you'll see that this is a shortcut. Let's go and have a look at it. Let's look at the properties of this developer command prompt shortcut even. And on the target here, if you look under target, you'll see there's a load of stuff. Now, if I was to paste that stuff in, you don't need to paste this in, I'm just showing you, and get rid of the fluff, you'll see that it's the same path here, except that we need to be putting double backslashes in everything. So I've given you all this. You shouldn't have to do anything. There's just the reason I'm telling you this is just in case you've got some enterprise version of the Microsoft command prompt because you've got different version of Visual Studio installed or something, then this build tools may be something like the word enterprise. All right, and if you want to find out, that's how you find out how. For everybody else, just go ahead and make it exactly like I've done it here. You should have no funny squiggles or anything else. It should be precisely like it is here. This is a good exercise in being very precise in what you're typing. All right, once those settings are saved, the way that we're going to know it is working is to go to Terminal and New Terminal, and when this terminal comes up, a good sign would be if it says CMD here, but that alone is not enough. What we want to do is something like a dir for directory, make sure it's working for us, and then type CL. And if you get Microsoft Optimizing Compiler version blah blah, then it's working. It's the same exercise we've just done as what we did outside of Visual Studio Code, but now we've actually got Visual Studio Code doing the job for us. So that is pretty cool. All right, congrats. We can now go ahead and join everybody else and be able to easily compile our code. Okay, see you in the next one.